This was a segment that I wanted to talk about deeper yesterday to address something that was very quickly glossed over by the fandom that Hasbro Pulse and Transformers marketing big boss Nate mentioned during the 1027 event, but due to the Takara Tomy drop of the recent Transformer Wildo King, the Transformers Wild King news, all that got pushed back, and so we're going to talk about it here today on the Transformers Slag podcast. And what are we talking about? We're going to be talking about the segmentations of waves, the case assortments, and how this is going to be affecting us going into 2025, because things are going to be different this time around. So first up, I want to post a clip from the 1027 event with Nate talking about quickly what is going on here. So check that out first.
One thing I did want to cover, kind of back to what we're doing in 2025 that's going to be different than in past years. So typically across Age of the Prime, or typically in Legacy, Age of the Primes, and Power of the Primes before that, we have 4 waves per year per scale, for Deluxe, Voyager, and Leader. Now what that did was, our case pack of Deluxe is 8. So we can fit 8 figures into a case pack. It's 3 for Voyager and 2 for Leader. So we only have a certain number of slots that we can use, but the way to fill out, 32 slots out of 4 waves, and you guys are probably aware, we had repeats. So you have, let's see, like Rise of the Beast, he was on shelf a long time. So Rise of the Beast, Bumblebee in the movie year, so 23 feels like an eternity ago, he was in 3 waves. And obviously he's one of our biggest selling characters, so we want to make sure he's out there. But in 25, we're going from 4 waves to 3 waves. So what that does is it extends the on-shelf date for 4 months from 3 months, but it also makes sure that we don't have, in Studio Series, we have 0 repeating characters. Wave 1, all unique characters. Wave 2, all unique characters. Wave 3, all unique characters. So we're incredibly excited about that, making sure the waves are even stronger. Yeah. And then you don't have to go back to the wherever you're buying your figures and say well, he's still there. They launched him in another wave, so we're doing away with that. But to that point, Bone Crusher, Scrapper, they're in that first wave. They're not coming back for the second wave. We're not going to repeat them in there. Again, just really maximizing the newness, but with a little bit longer on-shelf time. Mm-hmm. So I did want to make sure I mentioned that, because I think that's, when you're planning out your collection and your wallet share, we want to make sure that you have all the information that we're able to share. And I think that's, hopefully you appreciate that transparency and what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Yeah. So I'm going to break down here what exactly is going to be going on, and I'll post some visuals with it too. So they will be reducing the number of waves per segmentation. So to give an example, like Transformers Legacy United that we had before, that was originally 4 waves of toys across most of the price points. Not all of them, but most of them. So that meant something like you would get 4 deluxe characters in a case of 8. And that case of 8 would usually have 2 of each of those characters. And then you'd have a Voyager case box. And in the past, during the Prime Wars trilogy, Combiner Wars and stuff, it was usually 2 characters per case, and it would be 2 figures included there, and that would be it. So you get 1 of each pretty much. But starting with Legacy and Siege and everything, it started to be 3 figures per case, and you'd get 2 characters in there. So that means you get 2 of one, and then there'd be 1 per case. It was very weird, and it's still like that today. And then we have our Leader class cases. Those were 2 figures per case, 2 characters per case, so you got 1 of each. Commander classes were 2 per case, but it was just the 1 Commander. Titan class was 2 per case, but it was just the 1 Titan class. You get what I'm trying to say. So that's how it was pretty much. And what that would translate into each segmentation, each year more or less, was of that series, you'd get 16 Deluxes, 8 Voyagers, 8 Leader classes, 1 Commander, and 1 Titan class for a grand total of 34 products. But the thing is that even though I say it's 34 products, a lot of what I just said would also be past products, wave fillers, and all kinds of little things. You'd have a figure that was available in Wave 2 of Voyager, and it would also be in Wave 3 and 4 just to fill out the assortment. So that 34 products would actually be more like 26 products in most situations. And these products, also, the time that they would spend on the shelves for these waves was usually 3 months. So pretty much it lined up with each quarterly report with Hasbro, more or less. 4 waves, 3-month runtime, 1 solid year total. And that's how it was before. Now things are going to be changing now, depending on your situation, depending on your location, depending on your collectability habits. This might be a good or bad thing. So again, you might receive this differently than how other people will. Now, it's going to be only 3 waves this time instead of it being 4. It used to be 4 waves. Now it's going to be 3 waves of product. And those 3 waves will last 4 months instead of 3 to still have that 1-year span. That 1 month increase and larger window of time that the wave of product will be on there will also lead to a larger opening and window for retailers to do restocks of orders. Also, this new number that we now have, it's also 3 waves instead of 4. Each wave will increase 100% of the unique products with no more past fillers. So that number of 34 that we just mentioned before of Deluxes, Voyagers, Leader, Commander, and Titan, that will now be all unique products of 34 products instead of, again, that 26, maybe 28 that was before. There will be no more fillers. So the good is we will technically be getting more product, and it will be on shelves longer for a better chance of us finding it on shelves, and also a good chance for toy managers at a local Walmart, Target, or Toys R Us here in Canada, because then there's also a larger window for them to restock it and put it on shelves longer. That is considered the good thing. Now the bad, and I know I'm going to bring it up because some people will bring it up, some people who get stuff day one, everything on day one, will then complain about how they see nothing new on shelves for the next 3 months or so. So that's just going to be a given because it will be now longer, lingering in restock much longer. And then, of course, there's also the people that live in what I call zombie locations where they have super low traffic retail stores, and a place will get a wave 1 assortment and they will sit on that wave 1 assortment for months and months and months, because it doesn't get bought up and the toy manager doesn't have the incentive to get a wave 2 or 3. And this method obviously will not help those kind of locations because the window is now larger, the restock window is larger, where even if they sell out their wave 1 stuff on day 1, by month 3 or 4, if they do want to restock, it's going to be wave 1 stuff again. But again, I feel like that's why, Hasbro Pulse, Amazon, and other online retailers, that's always a good plan B depending on where you live in the world. But that is something that will affect people too. So, yeah. And in case you're wondering, also, because I didn't address it in all of this, core class is 8 per case, 4 characters per case, 2 of each. And chances are, they're going to protect that smaller price point. And while we know that core class isn't returning, something's going to take that Battle Master, Micro Master, core class price point in the future, because Hasbro's always going to protect that shelving space. They always have to in retail. So that's what's going to be changing. Again, we're going to have larger windows for products, but, just a smaller amount of waves, which leads to technically more products, but also might lead to more overstock. It's just something to consider that in the future, when you're going to your local Walmart or whatever, if you start noticing stuff on shelves longer, that's what's really going on here. It's more of a big, technical behind the scenes kind of thing. And I really just wanted to address it so people know what's going on, because when it happens, it's going to happen quietly, and a lot of people are not going to be aware that it's happening. Let me know what you think about all of this, and thanks again for listening to the Transformer Slag podcast, and we'll talk to you, as always, in the near future.